Oh, God. From the beginning of time, man has involved itself within conflict, and within that conflict, there have been various choices of what tools you may use. Weapons ranging from sticks to stones to most commonly used, the gun. Pulling out the old AKs and the magnums, having a go in battle, causing a bit of menace here and there. But who says weapons have to be serious? Because literally anything's a weapon if you're crazy enough. It doesn't always have to be an effective one, but, you know, anything can be a weapon. I could kill someone with a piggy bank, I could kill someone with a book. And video games are just always willing to take the piss, which I find respectable. I felt like talking about 10 of my favourite weapons that were put into gaming just for the sole purpose of giving the player a good laugh, a good chuckle, a good guffaw. I wouldn't really judge these weapons on the usefulness or any stats, just on how funny they are. So, I bring to you, with extra ammunition, the top 10 joke weapons in gaming. Strap yourself in, get armed, but don't take the ride too seriously. Laughter will be your medkit. Let us begin our crusade with a look at Soul Calibur 4, a game with many joke weapons already.
There's mini sausages, we'll have mini sausages!
But did you know that Link actually appears as a guest character in this game? Of course he did, everyone knows that. Still, it's pretty damn cool to have an infamous Hylian warrior representing his franchise in Soul Calibur, so that's a plus, definitely. One of his weapons in particular is pretty silly, but a great reference to Zelda. It's his bug catching net, which I find pretty funny, as you know, you've got his master sword to slash around with, but then, you know, you just choose his bug catching net as the weapon. And don't think the net has some magical properties or some surreal ass blaze. It's literally just a stick with a net at one end. Don't expect any powerful swats with the net unless you think you're gonna catch some bugs unintentionally while swinging it around. And let's face it, when you're up against people who look like this, I doubt that insects are your main concern. It's time to fight in the biggest duel of the century. Oh, look, a butterfly! Team Fortress 2 has a range of very, very dapper weapons. Some are pretty improbable considering you can maul scouts to death with statue heads, and a self-destructing pickaxe. Useless. And the weapon from TF2 I decided to choose doesn't seem like a joke weapon at all from the outside, but in practice it's honestly so useless, it's hilarious. Demo Man's Sticky Jumper. Consider the fact that Demo's original sticky bombs can already launch you quite a bit in the air, but they do some damage to you if you use them as launching blasts. I said do. The Sticky Jumper eradicates that problem pronto. It removes the damage it does to you, so when you launch yourself all the way across Dust Bowl or Two Fort or that one place with caves, you don't actually take damage. But there's a problem. Because it does no damage to you, it also does dick all to your enemies, which makes this weapon virtually useless. Like the new Echosmith album. Still hilarious as you can go full on Disney logo across the place.
Go to hell! I tell the devil I'm coming for him next!
Dildo! The Saints Row series has always been crazy, like really motherflippin' crazy. Dubstep guns, giant bunnies, loads of weaponry at your disposal to make yourself known throughout the city. You can even streak, but don't do that, it's a bit chilly. There are definitely other great weapons in Saints Row, but nothing has ever made me laugh harder in the series than going on an absolute street rampage with a penetrator in your hands. It's a giant purple dildo. Who said you needed those inches for sex when you can use them for destruction? Blam! Nutted! Wasted! This is a really damn big phallus anyways. Who has a cavity big enough to handle something as massive as this? This will leave you in stitches from the surgery, because these things hit pretty hard and stiff, and I'm willing to bet that toys like these are on the rise. Bayonetta 2 has been described as the Sackboy of its predecessor. According to some friends who played it, it tried too hard to be campy or as funny as the original, to the point where it just became a bit ugh. But I haven't played it, so stop killing my hype, I want to get on this witchy business. I think it'd be good. A great feature of Bayonetta 2 is due to its exclusive release on Nintendo console, allowing for some little other nods at other Nintendo franchises, like costumes. I like costumes, especially on Bayonetta. Then you have something akin to the golden freaking chain chomp, which is absolutely ridiculous, but it was just thrown in there for a laugh. But you'll be laughing, not the enemies you're beating up. I swing this around like Thor's hammer and y'all demons better back your squad up, because the chain chomp is a creature of wonderful stature, ready to bite you in the ass, literally. Are you addicted to drugs? Well, put the crack down and pick up Crackdown. This game's got weaponry in bunches from the Crackdown, and you'll have a cracking time getting down and about the city, and even in large circuses. Both Crackdown games build up to this next joke weapon, and you've got to admit, rubber ducks are a wonder. Waddling down Tiananmen Square or deflating in the middle of a canal, it is hard to get the money for building giant ducks, as they have very big bills.
You know you've got that thing that makes the girls all swing.
So everything turns from Crackdown into Quackdown when rubber ducks start showing up in different areas of the first game. This is however turned into an actual weapon during the second game, where you can use these rubber ducks as grenades fired from a weapon called the Quacker. It's actually so cool. Quack quack, motherfucker. Imagine a new superhero coming from all of this. We had Batman, then we had Spider-Man, and then we're gonna have Ant-Man, and now Duckman, Duckworth, Duck Hunt Dog. This weapon has had a very interesting premise from the first game, and the second game is what hammered it into action.
I don't care. I'm a duck.
Dead Space is spookily chilling for a sci-fi horror game of its type, and it's pretty terrifying when something like a necromorph will pop up and attempt to rip your flesh apart in cold blood. So naturally, you'd pick an appropriate weapon to fight something that looks like an invincible melting corpse, like some boxing gloves, or a toilet plunger, or a foam finger. Yes, a foam finger is a weapon in Dead Space, and funnily enough, it's probably the most powerful weapon in the game. This is the hand cannon. It's exactly what it says on the tin, or the finger. The funniest part about this one is that Isaac actually says, this is a finger blast so powerful, it takes all of an enemy's limbs off in one go, which I guess you could say leaves them disarmed and defeated.
You know you've got that thing that makes the
Another cool thing about this weapon is its bio in the game. Real space, real terror, real foam. That sounds a lot like a Nerf commercial or something. Ratchet and Clank! I'll talk about something in Tools of Destruction, which introduced a weapon that is so damn ridiculous and out there that I actually applauded at my TV screen. You see, I love seeing elements of music and dance implemented into weaponry. I think it's creative how this sort of thing can be done, like the dubstep gun in Saints Row 4. One idea I've had for a weapon is a gun that makes your enemies start dancing, distracting them, and letting you swoop in for the kill. Little did I know that Tools of Destruction did this, and it was in the form of the Groovatron. And yes, the name of the weapon should be a good old hint as to what it does. The Groovatron will make a whole mob of baddies just start dancing the night away. There's even a disco ball and lights. This is heavy. The bass kicks in and you just walk away from the party like a DJ with Alzheimer's. When the beat is too heavy for you and your squad to keep fighting. This is a cardboard tube. For serious, this isn't some overpowered melee club with a wizard bell cast onto it. This is just a cardboard tube. Hitman Contracts is usually quite a rather serious game when it comes to its campaign, but this joke weapon makes everything so much funnier, somehow. Human beings being whacked across entire rooms by essentially a paper cylinder. What's next? Being beheaded by a Tupperware lid? Strangled to death by toilet paper? Like, let's be honest, you're an agent and an assassin. You may eventually be confronted by some pretty buff thugs. Sure, you're not supposed to bring a knife to a gunfight, but you definitely do not bring a cardboard tube to any fight. Imagine a slasher film about a man who uses a tube as a weapon. This is crap. Hyperdimension Neptunia seems like a great game for the kids.
Get out of here, Thunder Tits!
Haha, just kidding, everyone talks about boobs. Instead, let us remember the second game's developer, Inafune, who also worked on many of the Mega Man games, and it's cool to have a good old shout out to a fellow dev, but I think this game took that idea a bit too far. You see, there's this part of the game where you might find Inafune as a person to chat to, and he'll ask you a series of questions. But I'd quite like to ask the game a series of questions back. You know, like, why is this game so weird? Don't try to get too chatty with the girls in game, because Inafune's got his face on the weapons and he'll spot you in battle. Trust me, this is real. This is not even Photoshop. This is true. This is true stuff. The funniest thing is that these weapons do loads of damage. Inafune's too OP. Just attaching his face to a sword makes everything so much more dangerous, so watch out. And if you thought that was it, turns out he can come out of the sky and spot you too. He'll fire a laser at you if you're not following community guidelines. What a great way to get annihilated by a massive face that goes all shoop da whoop, shoop da whoop, shoop da whoop da. Inafune has the best kind of brand since Russell. Red Faction Armageddon has its way with animals. I mean, eventually you'll stumble across a bound ostrich that you can use as a hammer. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. I've checked. Oh, but here's the perfect way to take the piss out of a popular franchise and possibly even a whole fan base. You'll love this, because I really did. You see, the equestrian kind are raging over the internet with a force more intrusive than any SWAT team, and although I would associate myself far from the bronian kind, the ponies are invading my personal space, and I wouldn't say it's the most comfortable feeling in the world, just saying. But hey, find yourself a unicorn and everything in the world just seems to be a bit more better. You're cool, Mr. Toots, you can stay. Mr. Toots is just so out of place in this game. The little guy is a unicorn that shits out rainbow lasers, not to mention they can absolutely munt up the place. You're making Mr. Toots excrete multicolored light from its rectal cavity. How can you even compete with this? Well, that's right, you can't. I really did think a dismembered face was enough, but this is a unicorn.
What?
I am MasterJakeStudios, and I promote an end to this. No, so much no. Alright, sweet, okay. Are we done? Right, okay, here we go. If you want to check out more countdowns of mine, then here they are. If you want to check out more countdowns of mine, like top 10s and stuff, then there they are. If you want to check out a more different styled review series that's been started recently, check out Blue Shelled, it's pretty good. Then, here is a channel I've been part of for a recent while. This is Challenges Approaching, or the Chaps as we call it. What we do is we make countdowns but as a group, so we'll do different segments, and because of that, you'll get to see a whole range of great faces and personalities just through the course of one video. It is quite the dapper channel, that is definitely something to see. My social networks are in the description where you can read what I say outside my channel, which is both cool and creepy, but creepy in the cool kind of way. Alright, I've talked enough, I'm gonna sort out this disobedient unicorn now. See you guys. Sit! Sit! I said sit! No, listen, no, sit! Sit! Ah!